The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
Welcome to another segment of UCW Radio. This is your host, Lou, a.k.a. Falcon Coparis, and I want to thank all of our listeners for your continued support. I do this every show because I do appreciate your listening to the show and hearing our amazing guests on the show. We're fortunate to have such great people coming on the UCW Radio show, and today is no different. I need to let the sponsors know that we did open up the doors. The UCW Radio show has opened the doors to sponsorship opportunities and partnerships. So any advertisers, marketers, sponsors that want to tie in to the UCW Radio show, just go to ucwmagazine.com to find out how. In just a little while, we're going to have a very special guest on the show. She's one part of the screenwriting team that is actually taking Hollywood by storm, and I'm not kidding you. Their latest venture is going to be on the Carmike Theater screens across the country on September 18th, 2009. And trust me on this, this film is going to quickly become a cult classic. The name of the film is Lynch Mob, and with a cast that includes the great Tony Darrow from Sopranos and Goodfellas fame. This guy is great. Look, with that combination and the whole cast of characters, I don't have time to go through it right now because we want to get our guest on the phone because she is waiting. This is sure to knock your socks off. Before we bring her on the phone, I need to let listeners know that if you're going to be in the Atlanta area on September 17th, you have a unique opportunity. Make it down to the Carmike Theater for the red carpet event for Lynch Mob. You can go to their website to find out exactly what theater to go to. And that website is lynchmobmovie.com. You'll have the cast and crew there, meet and greet, photo ops, and much more. Get your autographs, so on and so forth. Get your memorabilia from the event. This is a unique opportunity for you to be a part of something. It's being a part of history, because I am saying this today, that it will not be long before this dynamic writing duo goes big time. So the chances of you having this opportunity in the next year is probably going to be pretty low. So take a part of history. Take a part in history, not of, but be part of history. Go to the official website. Again, I'm going to mention it, lynchmobmovie.com. Trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. Now, before we bring her on the line, I have to give you some information. We do want audience participation, so you can call in with your questions and comments. Just call 323-952-4369. 323-952-4369. We want to hear from you. So, and also, we're on Twitter. Okay, you can shoot me out your questions there as well. If you don't want to call, you can shoot me out. You can tweet your questions or comments to me there. My Twitter name is Louis Velazquez. That's LOUISVELAZQUEZ. Follow me and tweet away. Now, without further ado, let's patch in one half of the dynamic writing duo, the Stampers, which consists of Scott and Rachel Stamper. And here is that shining star, Rachel Stamper. Rachel, it's great to have you on the UCW radio show. Thanks for taking time on a Friday night to be with us.
Well, thank you for having me, Lou.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate the time, and I say this all the time when the show starts. We appreciate the time our guests put aside for us, because your time is valuable. You have a lot of things going on. You just finished that movie. You have a lot of promotion going on for it. So we're going to try to get through this interview and survive.
Surviving's good.
Yeah, surviving is good. Rachel, you are a writer. You're a filmmaker. You've done a lot of amazing things during your lifetime. You've been involved, or let me just not say involved, but let me just say in love. You have a love affair with the I guess Hollywood and writing plays and stuff like that. You've been doing this since second grade.
Yeah. I mean, it really, like, as soon as I could read, I knew I wanted to write. It was one of those, wow, I could do this. So I did. I started doing it, and first film in middle school, and then it was the litany of stuff, and then I kind of got sidetracked, having a family and things like that, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Right, here's what I want to do, and then you get sidetracked. But we got back on track.
But that's life. That's life. That's what happens, But what I want to do is let our listeners get a good taste or a good vision of you and your journey, because knowing more about you, your journey is amazing, and I just learning about you. I was taken back when I was reading more, and I think our listeners would be very interested in hearing about your journey. Now, you started out, with your first play. You were in second grade. You were doing some theatrical stuff. Why don't we start there? You were in second grade. So how do you know about writing plays? I mean, what's up with that?
I don't even. I guess I don't even remember at that age, like, reading a play, and then to write one, and I don't even remember how it happened. It was like, and I wrote this play, and it was aliens, and my sister mixed, green food dye and makeup, and I directed and starred in this production, and, we coated ourselves down with green makeup, and, I think there was 3 or 4 of us girls, and we're at the front of the room, and we're doing this play, and then everybody liked it, and so we ended up doing it in front of the whole school.
Oh, wow.
And that was my first foray into writing for the theater.
Ah.
So, and I don't even remember. There was aliens, and I think you destroyed them by tickling, and it was highbrow work. I will say that.
That's funny. That's funny.
It was off Broadway. We were in rural Georgia, so I don't know how much further off of Broadway you can get, but it got good reviews.
Well, there you go. That's an important thing.
It was well received. It sold out every performance. Well,
so. That's in second grade, but then what I find interesting is that you go from the second grade doing this stuff. You got your aliens, kids. That's something I don't know. What's going on in your head at that point? I don't know, but it's funny to me. You're looking at the world domination, so on and so forth. But
world domination has been my theme.
Yeah, and I think it still is. I think you're still involved in that in some way.
I'm headed for world domination. It's my destiny.
I think so. But you went from there, and you actually did your first screenplay, and you're still young. You what in 7th grade?
7th grade. I was 11, 12, and it was about Charles and Diana. Back then, it was like a big thing, and there was a love triangle with Amy Carter. I actually starred in that one too. I played Amy Carter, and it was just really funny, and it was just this class project, and it ended up in we started a little film festival at the school, and all my friends were on it, and it's funny because I'm still in touch with these people, and I've been getting Facebook things. I was in your first movie. Do you remember? I played Jimmy Carter, and it was like, oh yeah, that was my first movie technically. So on Super 8, with the little handheld, and
with the little handheld, and the reel, and
yeah, and we, and you're somebody's holding a microphone out, and you're recording on. Gosh, I think it was I don't even remember if it was cassettes or it was reel to reel. I think it was reel to reel.
Probably, those big
it
machines.
was antique equipment from the public school systems in Georgia, so it was great though.
Well, I hope you have that stuff, that footage.
I have heard that it's in a custodial closet at the middle school that it's still there, and but no, it's one of those just lost in the annals of time.
Yeah,
I do wish I had
you think
it.
so, but you think it's lost. But I tell you this much, in the next couple of years, when they're doing a thing on your bio on A&E
when they're doing my True Hollywood story,
yeah, exactly.
Someone's gonna find it in the closet, and it's probably gonna look really bad, worse than I remember. But
yeah. This is her before, like what they did with Chris Angel. It was like, hey, they showed him as some little nerdy kid. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's going to be me. I was a little nerdy kid. So.
Yeah, but you know what? It's interesting how this was just instilled in you, because you were doing that stuff, in your first screenplay. You were involved in poems and plays. You got awards.
Yeah,
for your creative talent.
I have trophies and medals and all this stuff, and it never occurred to me not to write. It was like breathing, and and there was always journals, and there was always stuff, and writing for the newspaper, and it kind of kept flowing out of me. And when life got really busy, I was in the military. I did all this stuff. I was in the Army, and I came to this point where I didn't have time. I felt like I was being strangled, and when I picked up the pen again and started writing again, it's like I found air again.
So it was after you went to the Army after high school or after college?
I took a hiatus from college, and I went into the Army, and that was a whole nother experience. I actually did well. Smartasses do really well in the military.
Yeah.
They really do, and people are always surprised. I like to hold that in my back pocket. I tell people, well, back when I was in the Army, they're like, what? So I wore Army boots and everything. Yeah, I did great. I liked the military, and and it just kind of progressed along, and then I started, doing some writing here and there, and it was community theater kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then
but that was during the time you were in the Army, or?
I actually started back doing community theater writing when I was in the Army. Army communities have a lot of theater, and there's, airborne rangers, they're not doing Shakespeare usually, but they're doing stuff, and it's interesting. There's actually a really lively theatrical community around the armed forces. And it's not just, wives and stuff, it's the soldiers.
Oh, that's interesting. So that gave you the opportunity to get in there and start doing what you love to do.
Yeah, just to get creative again, to direct and to write some things and just be involved in a theatrical production. And that was pretty much my outlet where people got to see what I was writing for a long time. So, and that went well, but it wasn't, I always, wanted to have something before a broader audience. And so but I just, I didn't ever sit down and make myself, write that novel or do anything. And then we were trying to start a family and had a bunch of problems, and then I got pregnant and we lost a baby.
Yeah, that's a biggie, because you shelf things for a little while because you got married and everything. And
yeah, you kind of concentrate on things like that, and then you're excited about this little life you've created, and then when we found out that the baby had died, it was and then I had to still go through labor and delivery. It was agony. I mean, I cried for. I really think I cried for a year, and my husband did too. And
I can imagine.
It was heartbreaking.
Of course it is. I mean, that takes its toll. I mean, your husband Scott. Basically, you guys went through hell.
Oh yeah.
At that time, that's heartbreaking. I feel sorry, and I feel bad for you going through that. No one should have to go through that, but what you guys did, and I think it's fantastic what you guys did. You didn't sit there and give up.
No, we did for a little while, but
well, I mean, it's normal, but it's normal to go through that.
There's a process, but then that really made us start talking about what do we really want to do. We've seen something put aside that we really wanted to do, and so, this may not happen for us. What do we really, really want to do? And we both love film, and Scott likes to write also, and so we said, this is what we want to do. And it was about a year later that we had, written some stuff, and then we said, we're gonna do a short film. And our first short film was Performance Anxiety, and Scott told me, he said, come up with an idea. We need to be able to shoot this in one location for really cheap.
Okay.
And so basically the whole movie is shot in our bedroom.
Really?
And yeah, it was really weird having that many people in my bedroom. Because there's boom mics and the cameras and
Yeah, in the bedroom, you're like, aha. Well, I guess this is what a porn movie feels like.
I sort of say, probably there's some, this was probably the only movie that there was no nudity or anything. Usually it's when you're filming, and the bed is the central piece. But it was a comedy about a girl who's basically all the skeletons in her closet come to life, and the guy she's brought home with her can see them and hear them.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really weird. And we shot it literally like in the hall, and then most of it was in the bedroom. But filmmaking, you have to be really quiet, and that's it's really weird not to have ever made a movie. And we had all this equipment everywhere, from the basement up, 3 stories in the house, and we're all tiptoeing around, being really quiet. And by then we had a child, and he was like 9-10 months old. He learned to walk during one of the rehearsals.
Okay.
He was in a papoose on my back while I'm feeding the multitudes of people.
Do you have pictures of this? I would love to see.
I do. I have some. I will have to send you some so you can put out there. And we did that one, and that one was really, really funny, and it was well received. It did film festivals, and almost immediately we're like, okay, let's do this again. And we did another one called Just Asking for It, and it's actually I think this is one of those where my husband, this was his idea, where is in the future where there's cops who can it's overpopulated, so they can just kill people who are jerks.
Oh,
so, the person in the 10 and underline at the grocery store that pulls up with 30, bam. And and you're allowed to do that.
Everybody's dream, right?
yeah, and you get like the jerk who cuts you off, bam, and they just slap a ticket on their forehead and kill them. And that one was definitely, dark and funny. And that was, what happens is Scott or I, one or the other, our writing processes will come up with the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person who comes up with the idea will do the first draft, just a really rough draft. And then I give it to the other person and they read it, and then we sit together and then we hone it and we perfect it, and it'll go through 6, 7, 8, 10 iterations. So we don't write collaboratively, we edit collaboratively. And so it ends up being both of us.
I like that.
Which is nice because it's a male voice and it's a female voice, and like in the one movie, they were going to kill a woman who was being annoying, and so I was like writing the annoying dialogue,
But you know what that does? That avoids arguments.
Yeah. Well, I won't say we haven't argued while we write stuff, but it's very. I think it's good because if I was writing with somebody else, I might be more polite. And so would he, but because we're so brutally honest with each other and not afraid of damaging a professional partnership, that we will just say, oh, that really sucks. No, you're not doing that. And that, I think, lets our work really get better because we're not afraid to really hammer each other until it's perfect.
But that makes a lot of sense, and you're right. If you guys are brutally honest, that means if something does suck, that you're going to say it or he's going to say it. But then at the end of the day, you're letting out a better product.
Yeah, it's better for it because if somebody is reading your work and tiptoeing around you, then they're just going to let you suck, and that's not doing you any favors.
No.
We
had
done these 2 little shorts, and we found out, God, this is a hell of a lot of work, and we thought, kind of naively at the time, after the fact we know that we were naive, that it can't be much harder to make a feature. Let's just make a feature.
Okay.
And so this one was based on Scott's concept, and then we wrote it out and worked it, and then we started passing it around. And by the time we'd gotten done with these 2 shorts, we knew a lot of people in the Atlanta film community, and we had made a lot of friendships and built a lot of relationships.
But those shorts you did, just to interrupt you for a second, those shorts you did, you got a lot of film festival recognition, didn't you?
We got film festival play, we got awards, we played as far away. I think the first one played as far away as Anchorage, Alaska.
Wow.
So, but with a short film, it's like, oh, it's kind of fun, but you can't do it professionally. There's no money in short films. And for us to be able to realize that we want to be full-time filmmakers, then we had to take this other step. And it was a huge leap of faith. At the time we made the movie, I was still working full-time. And now we're, full-time writers. So it's enabled that. But it was huge. But what's interesting is we started having table reads and investor table reads and all this, and we started getting money. But even like actors who were taking a part in the movie, who were maybe only getting a couple $100 for their part, or maybe deferred, they were putting money into the film. We have a ton of investors that it's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 that were actually, either holding a boom mic in the movie or were acting in the movie because they liked the script so much and they really wanted to, and they didn't have to give money to be involved in the project, but they did. So that was a real kind of a compliment to us as writers, that people would do that, would invest in us.
No, without a doubt.
So,
And the thing is with that, look, and I have to say this for our listeners because you and your husband, you were doing the shorts, you were doing that, you held a full-time job at the time, and all this other jazz. You just put everything at risk
oh yeah,
to do this feature, because that's the key thing, the risk factor. Because look, we live in America. This the land of opportunity, and I say it over and over again when we go down this road. But to be successful, you have to risk. You have to roll the dice and go for it, and that's what you guys did.
Oh, you have to risk. I mean, everything. I mean, even to just make the short films.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first two, we pretty much paid for. It was, credit cards maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff's getting paid late.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like, calling your parents, hey.
Yeah, but on top of that, you're raising a family, and
and we got a kid who's now in school and all this, and I mean, it was really rolling the dice, because even though I was still working, every free moment, I was back and forth to the movie set carding a child who was then 4, and he was so great about it. He's the cannibal baby in our movie. But,
throw him in!
He's in all our stuff. It's like, here, I mean, he was tiny. He could barely sit up, and he was in the first one because we just thought, oh, fun, and so it's like a Hitchcock thing. He's our Hitchcock. He's in every one of our movies.
That's cool, though. That's cool. You involve him in it, and I like hearing the fact that, you had your actors, you had the people involved, you had people supporting what you were doing. I mean, again, that is definitely a big pat on the back for you guys. And
what was also great about this is that people that were in our first short film, after they made the film with us, they kind of were like, I can do this. I can really do this. And they took off for L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And we have people that their first part was in one of our little things, and they're out in L.A. and they're doing it.
Awesome.
There was a guy who held he had no lines. He held a guitar in our first movie, and he was in Quincy and Era. And that's just wonderful.
That's fantastic. See, you open the doors by you and your husband doing that. You open the doors for opportunity for other people, even though whether you mean to do it or not, it happens by default.
Well, and you mean to do it. You want it to happen, because it's a good feeling to know that you knew somebody when, and that you were part of their journey.
Right.
And especially now that Lynch Mob is going to be in theaters, it's going to be just a real boon to the actors that were in it, and they thought, they may have come in and thought, oh, it's another, little indie film that, maybe is going to be on DVD. But now it's like, oh, wow, I'm in theaters. So if they didn't have an agent, they can get an agent. If they had an agent, they can get better parts, or more money, or, more recognition. So it's kind of a, win-win-win-win-win-win for everybody that was involved. What's been happening.
Across the board. And this is, and again, for our listeners that are listening to this just goes to show you that things do happen. If you have a lot of writers and directors that are out there doing indie films. You have a lot of great people over there, and you know what? If you're an actor and you get involved with it, you're not making the money, but it's the potential of something great happening. And with
you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know where it's going to end up.
But you guys, you made the feature film that you have coming out that's going to be in the Carmike theaters shortly is Lynch Mob. It didn't start out as Lynch Mob, but it started out, what was the title? Fresh Meat?
It was Fresh Meat. It started out as Fresh Meat, and then we found out there was a adult video of that title, which I'm sure had a much different plot, and we thought, maybe we don't want that market confusion.
No, especially when you guys started shooting in the bedroom. You don't want that type of thing going on.
No, yeah, because we already had that reputation going for us.
That happening. So you renamed it Lynch Mob. Tell us about this.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll give you without spoiling the ending. Our little tagline is: if you only see one mafia, horror, zombie, redneck, cannibal movie this year, make sure it's Lynch Mob. And there's a little town in Georgia, Lynchburg, Georgia, and some of this is actually based in historical fact. Sherman's coming through; he's burning everything, and some of these towns started lynching their slaves because they didn't want them to be part of the Union Army. And so this little town of redneck jerks is lynching their slaves, and they lynched this woman who's a voodoo queen, and right before they kill her, she curses them, and they are cursed for hunger for human flesh, and they can't leave this stinking little town. So it's been the same 12 people since 1860 something, you know, and not a lot of road traffic comes through, but when they do, you know, they get eaten. So there's a little diner in the movie, and you know, one of the recipes up there is, you know, stew, and they have it spelled S-T-U, and they're like, oh, you spelled it wrong. And he looks down, and he's got like you know, an automotive shirt, and the guy's name is S-T-U, and they're like, no, I don't think so. And
that's funny.
and actually, and then there's an Italian in New York, you know, tie into this that you should like. So up in New York, there's a mob guy, Weasel, and he's an interrogator, and he rolls over on the mob because he gets caught. He's this icky pedophile. The actor who played him is really nice. He's actually a preacher, so it's really ironic.
Yeah, that is ironic.
When he is on screen, Michael Cole, just like, he makes your skin crawl. He was into this part, and he's such a nice guy.
But you know what's funny is that he's going to be in this movie. People are going to see him. Yeah, I think his story needs to be told, because you don't want this guy. Them saying, "Oh, yeah, you bastard."
Oh, right. And then people are like, "Oh, keep your kids away." He's the nicest guy, and he actually teaches theater at a church. He's the nicest guy, but he was so in this part. He was so in there. So he is this mob information extractor, and he rolls over on the mob, and they have to put him in witness protection, but they don't want to put him near kids. So they find this little crappy town in Georgia where there's no kids, and they drop him off, and of course the neighbors come calling, and they want to have him for dinner. And he fights them off, and then he figures out they're not dying, you know, even though he's done a butcher job on them. And so he makes them a deal. He asks them if they like Italian, you know, and so he baits the mob guys to come down, because he knows they're going to find him anyway. And so the mafia rolls into town, and they do battle with the rednecks, and you know, it goes from there. And it's really great. So it's, you know, kind of mafia versus cannibal rednecks.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting. I like that storyline.
Yeah, it's something that we haven't heard before, so that's always a good thing. And lots of, you know, really cool special effects. You see this movie and you won't believe it's a low budget movie. You know, we have eyeballs coming out, we've got fingers getting hacked off with pliers, and it's really gruesome, and you know, gunfights blazing and bullets and everything. And we're lucky to have, you know, some engineers and stuff who were interested in filmmaking and did these great special effects for us nothing.
And they believed in what you guys are doing. Yeah, actually, what I want to do, Rachel, is just, you know, let's crank back a little bit, because, you know, the movie Lynch Mob is going to be in the theaters soon, but I want people to hear that, you know, when you guys figured out what you were going to do, you and your husband had to sit down and say, okay, we want to do this, but how are we going to pay for this film?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, with the first couple of shorts, it was, oh, okay, well, we'll just, you know, eat hot dogs and max out the credit cards. And with this one, it was, at that point, because we had made the two films, we were like, wow, you know, we don't have any money. We really need to do this, though.
Right.
And so it was a matter of the thing that we could bring to the table was our passion, our enthusiasm, and our screenplay. And that's what we did. And we just started showing it to people that have been involved in our other projects. And actually what's really great is there's two guys that are actual, like, Hollywood players that are in our movie. Tony Darrow, who is he was a regular playing Larry Boy Barese on The Sopranos, and he's in Goodfellas and Analyze This, Analyze That. Any mafia movie this guy's been in, you'll recognize his face in a second. And then Paul Borghese, who produces his own films and was most recently in Julie and Julia, and the script ended up in front of them, and they loved it, and so they agreed to participate. And you know, they did it for SAG minimum, which, you know, what actor shows up to do that? That was great that they, you know, kind of dropped what they were doing, came down to Atlanta and worked for SAG minimum. And you know, we had an accident. Tony got hurt on set, whacked himself with a prop gun, and you know, so we got real blood in our movie.
I mean, nothing but another thing is, I'm sad to hear. I feel bad that he got hurt. That's funny. He trying to whack himself? What's going on here?
Well, yeah, he should
What are
be
you
used to handling
doing,
guns by
Tony?
now. Well, it was just one of those interesting things, and of course, I was actually not on set, and I get this call. It's like, oh, Tony's been hurt. You got to find a doctor. So I had to find a little boutique doctor to head over to the set and treat him. But he wanted the cameras to keep rolling. He wanted his real blood in there. He didn't want to slow up the production for the the head wound, because it was a head wound. And so he was a real trooper, and then they showed up and got him fixed up. But he didn't want to stop the filming. So he believed in the project, and that was a great feeling to have somebody who's been in 30 plus movies to go, I believe in your project.
That's a real professional, and for someone, and it's interesting because when you have someone that's been around and they attach themselves to your film, not because they're getting paid millions of dollars, but because they believe in the project. If you're involved in a good project, things happen. Things happen.
Yeah, I think it's kismet in a way because, for them, them to come down and they were so great, and of course everybody wants a picture with them, and all this, and they were so nice. They, and for our movie set, these were the mega stars. And there was no diva, no nothing, and they just were professionals and believed in the project, and gave 100%. They took this as seriously as they do working on the set of The Sopranos, which is great. Unexpected in a way, and wonderful.
But you yourself, I mean, you weren't afraid of rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty. You weren't sitting there, just trying to raise capital. You were sitting there really digging in, from your cook, painting sets, doing this,
I did everything. And what's funny is I could, I'm excited to sit and watch the final cut. I'm going to have to watch it again later at home because I'm going to go, there's a piece of my furniture. There's a piece of my furniture. There's nothing left in my house because I collect antiques. And, because the set was like this older town that had been around since the 1860s, like every piece of furniture that we own. And, it was cooking. I actually burned down my kitchen cooking for the set.
Did you really?
I did. I was making meatloaves, and I had like 10 meatloaves in the oven, and I set the kitchen on fire, and the baby and I were outside on the front lawn waiting for the 3 fire trucks. He was really excited about the fire trucks, and the fireman came in, and
he's a movie star. Why not?
Oh, exactly. And they looked in the oven and they said, "Do you really like meatloaf that much?" Because it was a lot of meatloaf. And I explained to them about the movie, and the firemen were so great. They stayed like half an hour. I guess it was a slow fire day. And they hung out, and they wanted to hear all about the movie, and they were just really nice guys. So.
Well, you're lucky no one got hurt, first of all. Second of all, your son got to see some flames, unfortunately.
Yeah, got to see some flames, got to see the fire trucks. What I'm really upset about, actually, is I make great meatloaf, and the cast and crew never got to have it. They had to have pizza that night, and then after that, I decided that I wasn't gonna do anything flammable.
Pizza.
But yeah, I painted sets. I put up lights. I literally wallpapered, and I did all this. We were working in like this abandoned house, and I'm trying to make sure my son doesn't play with the broken windows in this abandoned house we're shooting in while I'm painting the walls. And it was a family effort. My nephews came and helped. My brother-in-law was loaning stuff. My brother was loaning us guns. He's an NRA poster boy. He has like 1,000 guns. He was loaning us guns, which was great. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's interesting to do it. It's very time consuming, and it's a real labor of love. But I'm glad we did it, and I can't wait to make our next one.
But the thing is that you have to love what you do in order to sacrifice what you did. Because look, and I'm going to say it again. You and your husband sitting there, you're maxing out your cards, you're doing this, doing that, you're taking the money out of your savings, this and that, you're trying to raise a family at the same time, and you're trying to do this movie, and it's like you're borrowing money to do this, that, and the whole 9 yards, and you're sitting there and you're trying to make this happen, and during the whole process, you're stressed to a T, and I know it, you have to be, you're stressed to a T, but then at the end of the day, when you have so many people coming in and just kind of like a magnet, you're drawing them to you.
Well, and I would say to anybody that is not doing, what they want to do, that I don't think you can sit in your comfort zone and make a dream happen.
No.
Unless your dream is to, if you want to be doing what you're doing, then great, good for you. But if you're doing something, different, and you can't sit on your sofa and just think that what you want to do is going to knock on your door and and make it force success on you or force what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if this hadn't worked out, yeah, I don't know.
Well, if it didn't work out, things would have went down a different path. But you had enough faith, and everybody had enough faith in the project, and that alone makes the difference because they're going to make sure it's going to be great. It's not about, okay, well, you have a crappy screenplay and we're going to do this because we have nothing better to do. No, they believed in your screenplay. They believed in you guys. And then that comes forth. And again, I go back to the risk factor. You guys risked everything for this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but now the reward is going to be sweet. But, again, I go back. Look, we're in America, land of opportunity. If you don't risk, how are you going to get anything back? If you sit, as you just said, you sit down, you're watching TV, watching wrestling on a Monday night or whatever, Friday night. You're doing nothing. You're hanging out with your friends. You're doing nothing, but you have these dreams and you're not going for it. Who do you have to blame but yourself?
Yeah, nobody's going to do it for you.
No.
And we worked hard, but I won't say there wasn't an aspect of luck or fortune or blessings, whatever you say to it, how you want to define something, because our movie just floated across the desk of someone who took it to Carmike, and Carmike Cinemas went, "We love this." And what's really great about that, and Carmike believing in the project, is Carmike has, there's plenty of Hollywood movies coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That screen could have gone to somebody else.
No doubt.
And there's studio pictures that can't get on a screen right now. Because there's a lot more independent projects coming out that are good. And there's this huge community of, I think the future of filmmaking is independent filmmaking and not studio filmmaking. And
Here.
Yeah, I mean, it's people, because I think in the studio system, it's the same romantic comedy, that same plot over and over and over, and it's just how much more of this Play-Doh cookie cutter crap,
Mm-hmm.
Can we endure? And for us to have a screen where they could have, put an Al Pacino movie or something else is just phenomenal. And Carmike's faith in this project has been an absolute godsend. So, they have us on almost 100 screens across the country.
Nice.
And hopefully, it's going to do so well that the rest of their other 85 screens or whatever they have are gonna pick us up too.
No, that would be excellent. But see, you went from a dream to you realizing this dream. I mean, when you were doing this film, you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know whether this thing was just going to go to DVD and just wind up somewhere on Netflix or something, or Blockbuster.
Yeah, if we were lucky, right?
Yeah, if you're lucky to get there, or in somebody's garage and somebody's selling it, out of the back of their trunk. I don't know, But fortune, I'm going to call it karma, because if you go through enough in life, you try to do good for people, it comes back at you. So, maybe that's something karma-wise that happened. But you created a great movie. You did that. If this is going to be in the Carmike theaters, I think that you have something awesome on your hands. And
thank you.
When is it going to be? When is it going to be released?
We open on Friday, September 18th, so a week from right now. We will be open, and lynchmobmovie.com has the trailer and information and bios, but there's also a list of all the theaters. And we may be, the listings come out about a week ahead, so we probably, our movie poster is on Carmike Cinemas, and hopefully the date and time listings for all those people who want to rush out and buy tickets now and beat the rush can get it. But lynchmobmovie.com, and you can see about it. And then lynchburgga.com is actually a little site of ours too. We worked up a whole history of this little town, and there's a message from the mayor and everything. And
great.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun little site also. That's where cool. You can get into the vibe of it. But yeah, we're pleased, and we had a great director, we had a great cast, great crew. We were in there with our sleeves rolled up, and then this part that we're doing right now, and we appreciate you interviewing us. That it's a real grassroots effort to get the word out and to get people into the theater to see this movie that I think they're going to love. Any horror fan is just going to love this movie.
Yeah, well, look, I think, Carmike Theaters supporting your efforts is a big plus. I give them a big thumbs up for doing that. Now, it's coming out September 18th. Are you going to have like a red carpet type of thing going on?
We are. We're having a red carpet premiere Thursday the 17th here in Atlanta at one of the Carmike locations here, and we're going to have some Atlanta-based celebrities. Keith Sweat's going to be out there with us, and all the cast and the crew and some media. And so I'll send you some information about that. If you're down Atlanta way, you should come on out to the red carpet premiere.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, and for me, what really made this real was to walk into the Carmike location closest to us, and right there, boom, first poster inside the door. There's our movie poster. And it's like, whoa, I can see my name there, and
That's
then
pretty cool.
Yeah, and then to go into one of the cinemas and see the trailer playing on the big screen, that's when it's real. I don't think we're not done. We're just getting started out, but you feel like you've made it at least to one stage of some success when you see that there, and it's like, wow, people are going to see our movie on the big screen, and they're actually going to pay for the privilege. That's exciting. Yeah,
but you know something, you guys put a lot of work into what you did, and again, I think this is just one giant step, but it's one step, and where you guys are going to go. I believe that in the coming years, you guys are going to be on top of the mountain as far as filmmakers are concerned. And
thank you.
Yeah, and what's going to wind up happening is that people are going to be coming to you to say, oh, well, how'd you do it? Give us guidance, give us advice, stuff like that, or be involved in our project because you're Rachel and Scott Stamper, and help us with we want you part of this. And you know something? You deserve it. You deserve the accolades. You deserve people coming after you. You guys sacrificed. My God, I mean, honestly, your story. And you and your husband, you guys have an amazing story. It's an amazing journey.
Thank you. It's been a bumpy road getting here, but it feels good to be right here, right now, and enjoying the moment, and thinking about Thursday, putting on a pretty dress and walking down the red carpet, and then Friday we're going to go up to our local Carmike and we're going to thank the people that come in to buy a ticket and see our movie.
Yeah, but
we're that excited. We're going to we've sent everybody. We've told the whole cast and crew, you go to your local Carmike, and when people come in, they buy a ticket, you thank them.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool.
You pose for pictures and shake hands.
Yeah, but that's what you need to do. I mean, now you have the red carpet event on the 17th. Now fans can come out and take pictures and stuff like that.
Absolutely. We're just outside of Atlanta. The premiere is going to be at the Carmike in Conyers, and our website, my email address, because I'm doing some publicity for this, is media@lynchmobmovie.com. And if there's any fans that are in Atlanta and, they want to come out to the premiere, I have a certain number of tickets that I've blocked off for fans and for radio call-ins and things like that. So we'd love to have them. We would love that.
That's fantastic. See, that's so nice of you guys.
Yeah, they can come take pictures with Tony and Paul. Are going to be there. Keith Sweat's going to be out there, and I'm going to be there. If anybody just happens to want a picture with me, I don't know.
Oh, come on, Rach, you're kidding me. People are going to want to, if they don't take a picture with you now, they're not going to be able to do it in the next 2 years. My God. Because you guys are going to be untouchable, and
we're blowing up.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to say, yeah, well, I had Rachel on the show, but she doesn't take my calls.
No. I will. I promise you that I will still take your calls.
Oh.
We'll do this. Even when we do our $150 million project with Sony, you are my first interview.
I love it, and I love hearing that, and I thank you for that. But I know that you have a lot of great things going forward. I want to give the website again is lynchmob.com, right?
Lynchmobmovie.
Lynchmob Movie. See, that was a big mistake. Lynchmobmovie.com.
Lynchmobmovie.com.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're in the Atlanta area, media@lynchmobmovie.com. If you're hearing this and you want to talk to us about anything, media@lynchmobmovie.com, and that comes to me, and I'll share it with anybody that wants to talk to us. we're glad to share our story and to do what we can for anybody else.
That's awesome. See, you're also giving back. You're paying forward, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, you have to. And
yeah.
There's so many talented people out there. So yeah, a guy pitched me a screenplay the other day. It sounded good. I told him to send it to me. Like, I want to read it. So email us. Tell us your story. We want to know.
Yeah, but that's fantastic. That's why I say you're going to go to the next level. You and your hubby, you and Scott are going to go to the next level, and people will be gravitating towards you as they have been. I think Lynch Mob is going to be a big hit. And if I'm down there, which I don't know what my schedule's like, but if I'm down there, I'm going to be there on the red carpet to go take a picture with you.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to get myself down there and do that because I think that you guys are amazing. And now, here goes a key thing, okay, with you and your hubby. Now, you came to this point. You had the premiere coming up. That's a big highlight of your career so far. But there are many more highlights are on the horizon. Now, big thing. What's next for you? What's next?
What's next? We got to get an agent because.
Well, let's pause here. See, they need an agent. So if whoever is that, I mean, CCM, whatever, the big organizations that are out there, CAA, that's the one, CAA. So CAA, if you're listening to this show, you have a client that a potential client is going to blow up.
There we go, Mike Ovitz, give me a call.
Yeah. Come on, Mike, what's with you? My God.
We gotta, so that's our next step because, until it's really, it's hard for a writer it's hard for anybody that's relatively unknown, to get an agent to return your call. So now that we're in theaters, it's like, wow, maybe we can get an agent. This is great because we have 4 other screenplays in the queue, and we're kind of torn because because of the success already of Lynch Mob, we've had a ton of people come and say, okay, here's a check for your next movie. And so we know already we can make another indie film. But then, we have some screenplays that we think would be better in the hands of the studio and maybe, sell that so that we can go back and make another indie film.
Right, and you do things at your pace the way you want to do it. But now with a bigger budget and the bigger potential there, you can actually go and do something different. But I just have a feeling that even if you had $100 million to do a movie like you have here, you'd probably still go the route that you went. But have other people doing stuff, of course. Not you burning down your house, but
but, no, I don't want to endorse that for anybody. That was really scary. But yeah, I mean, and the nice thing is any opportunity for us is an opportunity for everybody that has worked with us and believed in us, because we have such a solid community that we just kind of want to help everybody move along with us. We're not going to be going any place without taking people with us.
And that's the name of the game, paying it forward, doing the right thing. The struggle. You guys went through the struggle. You made it through, and I see nothing but great success for you, for your husband, for the people involved in this film. LynchMobMovie.com. See, I got it right. LynchMobMovie.com. Lynch Mob is going to be in the Carmike Theaters on September 18th. Join them on the 17th. We are going to have a link to the site on UCWMagazine.com, and we are going to put other information on there that even Rachel doesn't know yet, but she's going to find out in a little bit, and we're going to put it on there to help our listeners and visitors to our site and everything else, help them along the way for showing support for this great film. And again, I have no doubt it's going to be fantastic. You're going to have a great showing, Rachel. And I one thing I have to say, first, here's the thing. Are you guys on MySpace?
Lynch Mob Movie is on MySpace. Lynch Mob Movie is on Facebook. You can be a fan of us. Me personally, I'm on Facebook, Rachel Stamper. I'll be anybody's friend. I'm indiscriminate.
Oh my God, you're one of those Facebook slutty types. I got you.
I am.
Oh
I am
God.
indiscriminate on Facebook, and we're on Twitter.
Okay.
We are every viral media outlet.
Awesome.
You just do Lynch Mob Movie, and you will find us and follow us and be a fan and send us a message, and let us know what you think about the movie when you see it. We want to hear from everybody.
That's excellent. And everyone listening to the show, support the movie. Great movie, great people, great story. This is, again, it's not just, the movie is going to be fantastic, but everything behind it. I'm glad that we're able to tell the story behind the scenes, because they're going to see the end product. The struggle that went along, to me, is what's interesting, and I think we told it well.
Oh, I think so too. Thank you so much, Lou.
No, thank you, Rachel. And again, we want to thank you for coming on the show. LynchMobMovie.com, guys, go check it out. And what we want to do, Rach, if it's okay with you, is get you back on the show later on and maybe give like a little recap of what's going on with the movie, how the turnout was. We'll have a little brief on what's going on, because I'm curious as to how great this is going to be, because I think you're going to be pretty damn good.
Well, thank you. That'd be great. You just let me know.
And I will, Rach. All right, you have yourself a great evening. Thanks again for coming on the show on a Friday night. I know you have busy stuff to do with your hubby. You guys have a lot of stuff going on. Spend time with your kids, things of that nature. So right now, I'm going to let you go. Again, listeners, thank you for listening to UCW Radio.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.